Janet Porter is our guest, president and founder of Faith to Action. Back in 2011, initiated the nation's first heartbeat bill to legally protect unborn babies with detectable heartbeats, served as national director of the Center for Reclaiming America, served as legislative director of Ohio Right to Life, successfully lobbying for the passage of the nation's first partial birth abortion ban, also secured passage of the Women's Right to Know law, parental consent, fetal homicide, clinic regulations, adoption reform, patient protection from starvation and dehydration, and removed abortion funding. She's authored 5 books, including The Criminalization of Christianity and True to Life. Janet graduated with honors from Cleveland State University and has a master's degree in communications. Ladies and gentlemen, Janet Porter.
Thank you. Thank you. We're going to end abortion. Hey, Andy. I've been saying that for over a decade now, and people are starting to believe it. But we've seen heartbeat bills pass in Arkansas, North Dakota, in Iowa, thanks to the leadership of Congressman Steve King, in Mississippi, Kentucky, in Georgia, in Missouri, thanks to Lisa Panette. Where are you, Lisa? God bless you for your efforts. In Louisiana, and yes, finally in Ohio. And I want to say thank you especially to Eagle Forum, to Phyllis Schlafly's Eagles, because you guys were there when this was just beginning to beat. Ed Martin believed in the issue and said, you know, Jan, it hasn't really passed, it hasn't done too much, but we're going to get behind you. Rebecca Gantner was there lobbying with us. Madeline was there lobbying with us. Bob McEwen was standing there in 2012 when they were blocking us in the Ohio Senate. And it's just such a, and by the way, thanks to Jane and Jim for this beautiful heartbeat necklace. I spoke at their Lincoln Day dinner in Denver, and they actually had a special my favorite necklace. And I want to thank you for that and for your heartbeat pins, which I assume are available in the lobby, which they're using to help us in the effort to pass to keep hearts beating. Pardon me? They are being launched today, and you get to be the first ones to get the official heartbeat bill pin, and it will help in our efforts. I know I don't have a lot of time. Congressman King is going to talk about the youngest to ever testify. I talked to a rep yesterday in Pennsylvania and suggested that they implement that project of bringing in a mobile ultrasound and letting the youngest be heard in their state. But I want to just tell you a couple of stories. When we've been working all of these tireless years, and we were blocked. In 2016, we passed the heartbeat bill, and we were vetoed. In December of last year, we passed the bill again. And we actually came within, well, I'll just tell you what happened. We were 15 votes short in the House of getting a veto override because John Kasich, who full disclosure, I used to be his spokesperson. When he was chairman of the House Budget Committee, I represented him in election nights and debated his opponents for him back when he claimed to be pro-life. Well, he vetoed the bill, can no longer make that claim. And so what happened in 2018, we were 15 votes short. I was driving down to the State House. I told my husband, man, I don't know. I just can't lose again. We're going to go there, and I implemented one of the techniques we learned from Tom DeLay to make a whip list. And Jody Heiss was on a whip team and we were crossing off the people in Congress. Well, we did the same thing in Ohio. We were doing 2 states at once. And I went down there, we were 15 votes short. And nobody could come and lobby with me that day. They all were going to be there the next day for the vote, but the work gets done before the vote. And so I was one person. I couldn't get 15 votes on my own in one day. And so I started handing out these whip lists, and I met with our only Democrat. We had only one Democrat. His name is Bill Patman. And I met with him just a half an hour before the vote. I said, we need another Democrat if we're going to have a shot at being at 60 votes, not 50, to override Kasich's promised veto. And he said, we tried a guy, we couldn't get him. I said, try this guy, Glenn House, try to get him. I said, text me if you get him. And so the session begins, and they actually they're coming out of the woodwork. You were there, Madeline. I think I had everybody sing happy birthday to you in the House chamber the day of the vote. Yes, I'm not real shy when we celebrate birthdays, because that's what this is all about. And so what happened is, you saw them there, the T-shirts, they just come right out and say it, pro-abort witch, with earrings the size of, the pentagrams the size of saucers in the earrings, right? These are the people and all their phones aimed at me. Oh, that's nice. And so we go there, and the session starts, and I get a text from our Democrat, and it simply says, done. Like, oh my goodness, we got a shot. We actually have a shot of getting 60 votes. This is unheard of. This has never happened before. And so what happened was they called for a recess. You were there, Mary, remember this. They called for a recess. You may not know. I left the chamber. I went back down to try and lobby, pick up some more votes. And I'm on my tiptoes, and Bill Patman, African-American, elderly Democrat, statesman, says, you know, you're going to hurt your feet standing on your tiptoes. He says, you know what just happened, don't you? I said, what's that? He says, they just called the circle and beat up this Democrat and threatened him to make him change his vote. And I said, is he going to hold firm? He says, I don't know. And we held hands that day and prayed outside the chamber. We went back in. What happened was the debate went back and forth, and they tried to gut it. They didn't gut it. And what happened was we needed 60 votes, and the vote was cast, and it was 58 to 35. And it wasn't one of those things, well, we tried. Something wasn't right. I'm like, we had more votes than that. Something's not right. And so I was told not to take any pictures of the board or anybody in this. You're not allowed to take pictures in the chamber, but my intern wasn't told that. And so I said, you get a picture of that vote, because I want to see on the board where those votes are before they publish something days later. And so we went outside, and we were looking to see who didn't vote, who was on the thing that didn't vote. We find out 10 minutes go by, and the Democrat that they threatened went forward and voted. We are now at 59-35. And they said, Marilyn Schlaby. They said, maybe she's not here. I said, no, she's here. I gave her a bag of heart-shaped chocolates. I saw her. She's here. Maybe they flipped her. I said, not her. She was a co-sponsor of this bill, and her husband was a co-sponsor before her, and I know she's with us. Where is she? We had one rep saying, I'll self-identify as a female to find her in the ladies' room. Whatever we got to do. We've got 3 bills we've got 3 bills right now on the roster. We've got less than an hour to get her back to vote. I get the cell phone of this guy, her husband, on the phone. He knew me because I lobbied him back in 2011 to get on the bill to begin with. And I said, we've got 3 bills on the roster. We have less than an hour. She is our swing vote. We need her back here. And he said, I'm 2 hours away. I have to mandatory meeting I can't miss. And because I believe my state motto, because Jesus was the one who said it, I said, well, you know what? With God, all things are possible is the motto, by the way. And I said, yeah, can you pull over? Because I'm on my way to get her right now. And he said, yes. And so I ran to my car, and it was snowing now. I'm running 2 blocks to my car as fast as I can. I told this group, I said, you guys pray, and you tell them to stall until we get back. I get to my car. I don't have my keys. And a guy who I think was either a marathon runner or an angel, completely not out of breath like I was, maybe quite a bit out of shape, but he said, here, you drop these in the crosswalk. Thank you, Mr. Angel. And I'm driving like a maniac. I'm driving a little maybe fast in a snowstorm outside of Columbus, and I'm driving north. I remember my intern who took the illegal picture. I said, hey, your mom lives up there. Can you have your mom come get her? So his mom picks up Marilyn Schlaby, our state rep, drives south while I drive north. They call and they talk to the speaker, and instead of adjourning, because nobody knew what happened, nobody knew what was going on, instead of adjourning the session, they merely recessed the session, where 2 members can hold a session and they can make a vote. And so we drive, we pick her up in Mansfield, we fill up the gas, we drive back down, and we meet in the parking garage, walk into the chamber. It was like some kind of surreal movie that you're calling for, third consideration, House Bill 253. She casts her vote. She still has her coat on. I fell to my knees and just started sobbing because we got 60 votes in the House, and we were veto-proof in the state of Ohio for the first time in history. Sadly, we had the votes in the Senate, but the governor lobbied his buddies, and a guy I'm not going to mention names, but his name is Bill Beagle, like a dog. Bill Beagle is the guy that betrayed us and betrayed the babies, and he's the one who cast the vote. But I will tell you, the good news is we then brought it back this year, and it was signed into law this year. And so I told the people of Michigan, I told this to the people in Florida that are doing ballot initiatives, citizen petitions in Michigan, where they can bypass their pro-abortion governor and not do what we had to do. And what happened was we went there and they said, well, we need 500,000 petitions. And they said, well, if you guys can get a petition a week, for 10 weeks, that'd be great. And they asked me to speak. And Congressman, I'm not going to do that. I'm like, we need to raise the bar. I said 500 people in the state of Michigan can be the ones to end abortion. And where's Bev from Colorado? Bev ordered me, where are you, Bev? Stand up, Bev. She, God bless you, ordered me these heartbeat hero pins that I had at our victory party. And yes, it was a victory party, and there's going to be many more. And so we put these out on the table for a heartbeat hero pin, and I stood up, and they said, no, that's this one a week? No. I said, I need 500 people. We need people who are willing to be heartbeat heroes to get 1,000 signatures. And commit to getting 1,000 signatures. I explained how easy that was. You go out on a date with your husband, you're hand in hand with petitions in your arms, and you say those 3 words everyone longs to hear. Sign my petition. And so we pitched that idea. I asked for heartbeat heroes, and there was like a pause. Oh no, did Janet go too far? Is anybody going to come forward? They came forward in every church in droves. They were sobbing, and they were saying, this is what I prayed for. I prayed for the end of abortion, and we get to be a part of it. And that's what this is all about. Just this week, I talked to state reps and state legislators in South Carolina, in Tennessee, in Florida, in Texas, in Michigan, in Arizona, and Pennsylvania. I'm telling you, we're going to end abortion. One final thing I wanted just to tell you, just one amendment that was introduced in the House, in committee, and on the floor. The most lethally racist amendment I've ever seen. By the way, thank you, Gary Glenn, for standing up for Michigan American Family Association, to be a part and a leader in that state. I'm grateful, and it's an honor to know you, too. But one of the amendments that they introduced was the most lethally racist amendment. You know what they said? That we're going to protect every child unless you happen to be African American. Oh, yeah. It says basically every other child will be protected, but there's an exemption for African American babies. We're going to kill them. And isn't it interesting that none of you have ever heard about this, probably? But you've all heard about a misquote in the New York Times, haven't you? So if the New York Times blasts you and says something you never said, then everybody is painted as a racist. By the way, I'm writing the book, A Heartbeat Bill, The Beginning of the End of Abortion in America. And in it, I have the definition of racist. Here it is. What to scream when you're losing an argument with a conservative, especially if they are effective, talented, or successful. And that's why everybody from Donald Trump to Steve King. I'll give you one more little thing from the tidbit from the book. And it's coming out January 22nd this coming year. But here it is. It says, guess who said this? All right? Who said this? Quote, we don't want the word to get out that we want to exterminate the Negro population. Was it A, Donald Trump, B, Congressman Steve King, or was it C, Planned Parenthood's Margaret Sanger? You all know that. I didn't have to tell you. I'm grateful that you guys know it. Let me give you one more bit of good news, and that is in the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals, which is where Ohio is, which is where Kentucky is. Both have passed heartbeat laws. Tennessee is on the verge of passing a heartbeat law. Michigan's going to do it too. And when that happens, unanimously, every state in the Sixth Circuit will have passed a heartbeat law. And what that means is that there are now 11 Republicans on the Sixth Circuit, 3 Trump appointees, more than all the other 12 circuits combined, 11 Republicans, 5 Democrats, and they just ruled recently a Kentucky ultrasound bill the Sixth Circuit called the unborn child. They referred to the being in the womb as an unborn child or unborn life 30 times. That's a good sign. Then they referred to another circuit decision that talked about abortion being the termination of life of a whole, separate, unique, living human being. We are going to end abortion. Ed, do I have time for one more? One more very quick thing, and that is Netflix. It's funny that Georgia Governor Brian Kemp said, when you do things like protect human life, it makes C-list celebrities squawk. And by the way, Netflix said that they were going to boycott it, and they said, well, we're not sure what we're going to do. Well, guess what? They said now they're going to give money to the ACLU and to others to fight the Georgia heartbeat bill. And since they said that, Netflix has lost $23 billion, 120,000 customers, and their shares are down 17%. And so In thanks and honor to Phyllis Schlafly's Eagles, I want to make this the time when I announce that instead of watching movies, we're going to end abortion, and I am joining the boycott of Netflix because we're going to take that money and we're going to put it to use to save lives and not end them. And I want to say it's an honor to know these men who have been fighting for us in the halls of Congress. And yeah, it's going to happen, and people are now starting to believe it. In fact, the pro-abortion, the Beach said, they said this was once laughed out of the room. This was once a fringe idea, but could it end abortion? In a word, yes. And another 3 words, count on it. Thank you very much.